For the first time in 6 weeks, TXN Sports World is back on the air. Hello, friends. Anthony Fleury here with you alongside good old MF Michael Fletcher. And we might be awaiting the presence of Michael Bullock. If he comes in, we'll catch him up on what he missed. If not, then we will hopefully have him back with us Saturday night for the Cerebral Smack Talk. Now, I know this is a sports show and all, but we are still all trying to process and recover from the very shocking and devastating news that came out about 4 or 5 hours ago. The passing. And I honestly cannot believe I am saying this right now. I was honestly hoping this was like fake news. Some troll or troglodyte out there was, having fun with us or something. But unfortunately, in the immortal words of Kurt Angle, it's real. This is damn real, unfortunately. Bray Wyatt, Eater of Worlds, passed away at the age of 36. Wow. I haven't been the same since that happened. I mean, when I saw the message in our chat, I was absolutely gutted, and I've hardly been able to function since that. I've been so shaken up. That's part of the reasons why we're a little late here this evening. I did have some issues on my end, yes, but I'm also still, visibly and emotionally shaken up from what happened today. I mean, we are, since this is a sports show, we will not be, paying tribute to him tonight. We will, however, Saturday night, Cerebral Smack Talk, good old MF Michael Fletcher. We will start the show and we will formally pay our respects and our tribute to Bray Wyatt, like we always do with, whether it's a professional wrestler, an athlete, or what have you who passes away, especially one that's close to home, and especially one that is ridiculously young, like Bray Wyatt was, 36 years old, and he's dead. Are you kidding me? My. But we'll have a formal tribute on Saturday night, and I've just been absolutely gutted, and the only thing I can say right now, I will go, preacher mode in a sense, like pastor mode here, being the mighty man of God I am. So I'll just take a brief moment and simply say this: life is never promised. Life is not guaranteed. I mean, be thankful for the time you spend with people. Be thankful for the time you have left with people. Family, friends, loved ones, what have you. Be thankful for that time. And always let them know how you feel. That's all I can say on that. And I mean, you never know when the Lord can call you home. And fortunately tonight, the Lord called Bray Wyatt home tonight. I'm never going to get over this. 36 years old. That is, yow. This is honestly the most shaken up I've been since the Damar Hamlin thing back in January. The last time I was this shaken up about anything in the news was that scary scene with Damar Hamlin. But thankfully, Damar Hamlin is fully recovered and playing again, which is awesome. But my God, Bray Wyatt, 36 years old, and the Lord's calling him home. I don't know what to say, man. I don't know what to say. But this is life. These things happen, and it's just it's a gut punch. It's a kick in the nether region, and a whole lot more. The air literally sucked out of me when I came across this news. So Saturday night we will pay a formal tribute to Bray Wyatt, and I'll have more to say on that. But MF, if you wanted to take a moment to acknowledge this absolutely shocking and devastating, gut-wrenching news. I mean, Terry Funk yesterday was one thing. I mean, 79, that's respectable. But 36? No. Way too damn young. Way too damn young. So, MF, Michael Fletcher, good old MF, come on in. If you want to take a moment to to share a quick thought. And before we do our formal tribute on Saturday night, it's been a gut-wrenching day for all of us. Upon hearing this news, we're all still reeling from this whole thing. And, but I know it's been tough, but you know what? Tonight we're hopefully gonna, try to lighten the mood a little bit. It's been 6 weeks since we've had a show. We haven't done one of these since July 13th. We were talking about the Major League Baseball Home Run Derby and All-Star Game, but and of course the ESPY Awards, and then we reached the slow period of sports. Boring, nothing eventful, interesting, what have you. But we're back here tonight, and we're gonna try to hopefully put some smiles on your faces and make you forget about the tragedy of this evening. So, but like I said, to put it to bed, we will have a formal tribute and pay our formal respects to Bray Wyatt this Saturday night on the Cerebral Smack Talk, hosted by good old MF Michael Fletcher. So, gut punch to say the very least, but as the old saying goes, the show must go on, and it will go on. So, with all that being said, let's get into this. What is our season finale of our regulation shows here tonight? And how we always do it when it comes to our regulation season finale. We will preview the upcoming college football season as well as the upcoming NFL season, and then good old MF Michael Fletcher will have a preview of the Big 3 championship game that goes down this Saturday afternoon, and then also he will preview the RWA Summertime Showdown that goes down this Saturday night in Johnston. So a lot to get to, so little time, but we'll try to do it the best we can. So with all that being said, let's dive right on in. And in addition to the college football preview, we're going to be previewing 2 games that are actually going to be involving ranked teams this Saturday as part of week 0. It's not often that happens, but yes, we're going to have it. So, but anyways, let's get into college football preview. First, how we do with the power conferences and Notre Dame, ACC. That's where we'll start. And will Clemson continue to dominate the ACC in the college football playoff era? The Tigers have won 7 of the 9 conference championships in the CFP era, a run that has led to 6 playoff appearances, 4 championship game appearances, and 2 national championships. Yet Clemson has failed to reach the CFP the last 2 seasons, and some consider that a step back under Dabo Swinney. The Tigers will have competition. Florida State won 10 games last year, and quarterback Jordan Travis has the best odds among the challengers for the Heisman Trophy after USC's Caleb Williams. North Carolina returns quarterback Drake May from last year's Coastal Division winners. Pitt remains a solid team and welcomes transfer quarterback Phil Jurkovec. There were 2 coaching changes in the offseason. Louisville finally brought Jeff Brom back home, and Georgia Tech promoted interim coach Brent Key. Big change, of course, is the divisions are gone. The top 2 teams in the conference will play in the ACC championship game on December 2nd at Bank of America Stadium in Charlotte. Who has the edge in the ACC? Well, I'll tell you that right now. I got to go with Clemson. I think Clemson will I got Clemson 1, Florida State 2, Pitt 3, North Carolina 4, NC State 5, Miami 6, Duke 7, Louisville 8, Wake Forest 9, Georgia Tech 10, Syracuse 11, Virginia Tech 12, Boston College 13, and Virginia in the basement. Eliminating divisions is not that big of a deal when you consider the Coastal Division champion averaged 1.5 conference losses since 2014. The Atlantic Division champion totaled 3 losses in 8 seasons, and most of that is Clemson's dominance. A 7-1 record in conference play should get you there. The Clemson-Florida State game on September 23rd will set the tone for the rest of the ACC race. Pitt, which is the only other school in the conference that has won an ACC title in the playoff era, other than those 2, will be in the mix because of a friendly schedule that draws the Tar Heels and Seminoles at home and misses Clemson. The Panthers also have a strong non-conference schedule that features Cincinnati, West Virginia, and Notre Dame. North Carolina does not have to play Florida State, which means the Tar Heels likely need a split in road games at Pitt and Clemson to have a chance to make it to Charlotte. Duke is an interesting sleeper, but they play Clemson in the opener on Labor Day night, and Florida State and North Carolina on the road. The Carolina-NC State regular season finale Thanksgiving weekend will be a key piece in the race, too. Which bottom half team could exceed their expectations? I'm saying Louisville with Coach Brom. The Cardinals have several transfers filling in, and they don't play Clemson, Florida State, or North Carolina. Keep an eye on the cards in September. But for right now, I got to go with Clemson to win the ACC. But, their biggest threat is Florida State. So so that's all I can say on that. So MF, come on in. ACC. You heard my thoughts on it. We're not going to do the formal and say, okay, who's going to win the conference altogether. We're just going to do the regular season stuff. So, but I got Clemson winning the ACC with Florida State second, and I think it'll be the two of them in the championship game, and one of those two will likely become the conference champion when all is said.
I agree with that for the most part. I kind of feel like right now, like you said, I think the ACC, it can go a number of different ways here, but I'm with you as well. I feel like the ACC right now is kind of a wide open, more than anything else. And like you said, now that they gotten rid of Coastal and Atlantic, and now that they're just playing it as one division, or one conference, yeah, I totally agree with that. I think it could be a Clemson Florida State showdown at the end. I would probably say keep a close eye on North Carolina, and I also gotta feel like Miami as well. Even though I know a lot of people are a little bit ho hum about Miami because of Marco Cristobal and about what he did in that first season was such a letdown. I kind of feel like he's due for something bigger, but we'll wait and see how it plays out. But no, the top two is definitely Clemson and Florida State. So Florio, what's yours?
Oh, all right, MF. You'll be leading off on our next conference, and I think it's only fitting because it's your conference. Just setting it up here. The Big Ten, of course, they still have their divisions. They still have the East and the West divisions. And while I get this thing straightened out here, MF, I mean, when it comes to the Big Ten, I mean, you got your usual suspects. You got your Michigans, your Ohio States, and what have you. But I've read a lot of the articles I've been reading. All of the previews that I've been reading. They are very high on your Michigan Wolverines, and in fact, the committee agreed with you because when the preseason rankings came out, they came out at number 2, and I'm sure you got to be encouraged by that.
Absolutely, but there is a major asterisk on it as well. Of course, everybody knows Jim Harbaugh was suspended and actually was now given a 3-game suspension. This was a punishment by Michigan. I guess there was some violations that were done prior to the season, some recruiting violations by Harbaugh that got him in trouble with they were asking for a 4-gamer. I think he got a 3-gamer. This was self-imposed, so yeah, he's going to be out for the first 3 games. But the thing is, if you're Michigan, the way the schedule's lined up, if you're missing the first 3 games, that's East Carolina, UNLV, and Bowling Green. I don't think we're going to need the coach at the very beginning when it comes to those matchups. Once the first real test is they get Rutgers at the Big House. That's when they start their conference schedule, which it does open the door. I mean, you do have some pretty good matchups this year for Michigan. Obviously, you got Michigan State. You got, there's a big game against Purdue. Penn State at Penn State. That's always you never know how that goes. And then the game, the big one at Ohio against Ohio State. But this time around, they're in Michigan, not Ohio State. I feel a lot more better when we're at the Big House instead of the Horseshoe. But obviously, a lot of people also are going to have Ohio State very high up there. They're actually number 3 in the nation when the new top 25 came out. So a lot of people does have Ohio State as a major threat. You just can't say that they're not going to be out there. Penn State kind of is lying in the weeds. You don't really know how that's going to play out. And then as far as on the west side goes, obviously Purdue, Wisconsin, I've been hearing a lot from Iowa too. I've heard a lot of good things coming out of Iowa. So maybe we might get Iowa, Michigan at the end, playing for the Big Ten title. But the thing is, once we get into next year, that's when the real fun begins, because that's when we're gonna get the additions, the new additions of the Big Ten Conference, which is that's when we're supposed to get USC and UCLA. Once we get them in, that's when all kinds of chaos is gonna break out. And then of course after that, there's even about rumors about Washington and Oregon joining the Big Ten. If they join in, now you're really gonna have a lot of fun with the conference. So the poaching of these teams coming out west is going to be very interesting. But yeah, right now, if you're talking Big Ten, you're thinking maybe Michigan and Iowa, Michigan, Purdue, maybe even. But don't sleep on Ohio State. Don't sleep on Penn State. They're looking to bounce back as well. So uh, East West, obviously right now Michigan is the favorite. Can they do it? We'll have to wait and see. But I'll tell you, what Michigan has been doing the last couple of years. The first year was one of those shock and awe. They're like, wow, I can't believe they did it. Last year, it was, we wanted to make it very clear. We are here to stay at the top. And now we're going to now it's no longer just, oh, we're going to win the Big Ten. Now we're want to build off of the run that they've made, and that we want to get into the CFP, but more importantly, not just CFP, but we want to get to the national championship game and win it all. That's the next step for the Michigan Wolverines. I think they definitely have a shot at it, but we'll wait and see when we get there. But yeah, like you said, Anthony, high hopes for the maize and blue. But let me tell you, the Scarlets of Ohio State, they definitely got revenge on their minds. They got embarrassed 2 years in a row from Michigan, and when Michigan and Ohio State get at it, it just the loss of those games it almost eats you alive. So they've been circling that sucker with blood red. So when we get there, we'll tell you about the rivalry, but it's real. It's real. So nothing more to say. Anthony, it's yours.
The Big Ten, as we know it, will have one last season before westward expansion. The conference added USC and UCLA in 2022 before taking Washington and Oregon from the Pac-12 this offseason, effectively killing the conference it had worked in conjunction with for over 75 years. That means the Big Ten will have 18 teams in 2024, a storyline that is sure to dominate headlines in the final year before the 12-team college football playoff. Speaking of the CFP, Michigan and Ohio State are looking to return there this season. The Wolverines are the two-time defending Big Ten champions, but as MF alluded to, Coach Jim Harbaugh is suspended for the first 3 games of the season. The pressure is on at Ohio State, where Ryan Day has another loaded roster led by Marvin Harrison Jr. Buckeyes, however, have not lost 3 in a row to the Wolverines since 95 to 97. Penn State also has a team coach, James Franklin, said has fewer question marks than his past teams. The Big Ten East race will be fun. In the West, Wisconsin will start a new chapter with Luke Fickell, the coach who took Cincinnati to the CFP in 2020. Matt Rule will attempt to remodel Nebraska, and Ryan Walters left Illinois for Purdue. David Braun has the unenviable task of coaching Northwestern in the aftermath of a hazing scandal that led to the firing of longtime coach Pat Fitzgerald. Big Ten will move away from the East and West Division format in 2024, so it's one last chance to watch a traditional Big Ten race before the former Pac-12 schools join the fray. So in the East, I got Michigan 1, Ohio State 2, Penn State 3, Maryland 4, Michigan State 5, Rutgers 6, and Indiana 7. The game between Michigan and Ohio State has escalated with the Wolverines' reemergence. Michigan averaged 274.5 rushing yards in the last 2 wins against the Buckeyes. The Wolverines have the best backfield in the FBS with quarterback J.J. McCarthy and running backs Blake Corum and Donovan Edwards. Ohio State will have a new quarterback, either Kyle McCord or Devin Brown, but there is so much first-round talent on the roster. The Big House could be the site of 2 11-0 teams Thanksgiving weekend, November 25th. Of course, Penn State could get in the way. The Nittany Lions have a new quarterback and 5-star Drew Aller and a talented roster that includes an NFL difference maker at just about every position group. Franklin is in his 10th season, and he's 4-14 against the Buckeyes and the Wolverines. That will be a highly cited statistic heading into those monumental games. Maryland, interesting sleeper. Terps lost a one-score game to the Wolverines and led Ohio State at the half last season. Talia Tagovailoa is back for one more run with Coach Mike Locksley. There's a little more pressure on Michigan State and Mel Tucker after slipping to 5-7 last year. Rutgers and Indiana will look to challenge for bowl games under Greg Schiano and Tom Allen. Can one of these schools pull an upset that will throw the race among the Buckeyes, Wolverines, and Nittany Lions for a loop? In the West, I have Wisconsin 1, Iowa 2, Illinois 3, Minnesota 4, Purdue 5, Nebraska 6, Northwestern 7. This is the division of the transfer quarterback. Every team except Minnesota, who will start Ethan Kali Kamanis this season, is turning to a newcomer. The Gophers are a bit of a sleeper pick, but they have the crossover combination of Ohio State and Michigan on the schedule. Iowa and Wisconsin could come down to which quarterback. Michigan transfer quarterback Cade McNamara with the Hawkeyes, or SMU transfer Tanner Mordecai with the Badgers. Makes the quick transition. Illinois is a chaos team of sorts, and Ole Miss transfer Luke Altmaier is on the spot. The defense led by SN preseason All-American Jerjan Newton will be solid. Purdue over Nebraska? Well, Boilermakers have won 4 of the last 5 in the series. It's the same story with Texas transfer Hudson Card and Georgia Tech transfer Jeff Sims here. Who will bring their first-year coach's vision to life first? Northwestern will likely have Cincinnati transfer Ben Bryant under center in week 1. So that's all there is to say on that. So you heard my reasonings. So now we go from the Big 10 to the Big 12. And I do believe that's a one thing there. So just bear with me for a moment here. All right. It's going to be a little bit different here, but I'm ready here. It's a season of transition in the Big 12 with BYU, Central Florida, Cincinnati, and Houston entering the league, and Oklahoma and Texas playing their final seasons before departing for the SEC. The Sooners and Longhorns would love to ride off into the sunset with a final conference championship. History is working against them. While Oklahoma has won or shared 14 championships in the 27 seasons since the Big 12 was established, they failed to reach the championship game the last 2 years. Texas hasn't won the league since 2009. The reigning champions are Kansas State, and other contenders lurk in what is probably the most balanced Power 5 conference. There should be lots of unpredictability along the way. I got Texas 1, Kansas State 2, Oklahoma 3, Texas Tech 4, TCU 5, Oklahoma State 6, Baylor 7, BYU 8, Central Florida 9, Cincinnati 10, Iowa State 11, Kansas 12, and I got Houston at 13, and I have West Virginia in the basement. Reason why I'm going with Texas, simple. Will the Longhorns finally end their Big 12 title drought in their final season in the league? There is enough talent in place with quarterback Quinn Ewers and wide receiver Xavier Worthy, capable of being one of the top passing combinations in the country. The only concern is finding a replacement for running back Bijan Robinson. Linebacker Jalen Ford should lead a solid defense that has gotten better each season under coordinator Pete Kwiatkowski. Texas still needs to find a way to win the close games, though. But I got Texas winning the Big 12, so you heard my standings. So, MF, your thoughts on the Big 12?
I think it's going to be interesting to see, to say the very least. Going into it, I totally agree. I think Texas probably is due this time around. Normally, any other year, we would be talking about, it's going to probably be, Oklahoma or one of these other conferences. But yeah, I'm actually with you this time around. I think this is the year that, Texas finally reaches the pinnacle and they win it. I would also say keep a close eye on Oklahoma as usual. I think they're going to be a really big date. They're going to be a little bit dangerous. I think Cincinnati could surprise a few teams. I think they could be like 3 or 4. Also Houston. I think they're going to do really well in the Big 12. So those will be the 4 that I would be keeping an eye on. But I agree. I think Texas wins it all. So nothing more to say, Anthony. Next conference.
And it's the most dominant conference in the game today. The SEC, East and West, MF, the most dominant conference, the one that grabs more headlines than any other conference.
Yeah.
You know it's going to be another fun year from those boys.
Oh, yeah, no doubt about it. And get ready for maybe the wildest of them all. Because right now, if you're going SEC West, there's only two. It's either going to be Alabama or it's going to be LSU. One of these two is going to be playing in Atlanta for the SEC championship. I think right now I probably give the edge to Alabama to get out of it. But LSU would be the strong number two there. In the East, there's no way it's any other game. It's all about Georgia, the Made in Georgia Bulldogs, the reigning and defending two-time, back-to-back national champions. I think they're going to really be the team that's going to be the flag bearer of that Eastern Division. The second team, Tennessee. What Tennessee did last year was absolutely amazing.
Biggest surprise. Sorry to cut you off, but biggest surprise in college football last year, bar none.
Oh, biggest surprise indeed. One of the best, one of the greatest runs I've ever seen.
They beat Bama. They beat Bama and had the wildest stampede scene in history.
Yeah, wildest stampede scene. The wildest stampede scene ever. But boy, did it cost them too. $500,000 on a penalty.
Goalpost.
Oh yeah, goalpost was about 10 grand or something like that. No, I think they said it was 100 grand for the goalpost. But but don't worry, the alumni paid for that. Peyton Manning and a whole bunch of his boys paid for the goalpost. That there was nothing wrong about that. And as far as the $500,000 fine, that's about 15 years of aggression. I think Tennessee had a $500,000 lying around somewhere in their student trust fund. So no, don't worry, they had the money.
It was worth it.
It was worth it. It was worth it, man.
Damn worth it.
They beat Alabama for the first time in 15 years. Yeah. I mean,
I'd be celebrating too.
A goalpost would have been in the Tennessee River as well. So,
there was.
Yeah, it happened once before. I think when they beat Florida. This was like the Tim Tebow dominating when Florida was Florida back then. So yeah, so I got them at number 2. Speaking of Florida, I think they'll be number 3 in the East. I think they're going to do really well. So keep an eye on them. And the sleeper team that I want to talk about, I know we don't talk about them very much, but Arkansas. I think Arkansas could be a sleeper. I don't think you're going to see much. I don't think they're going to be a bit of like a big runner. But keep a close eye on them. They might be lying under the weeds type of thing. Because you got obviously with Alabama and LSU, those are the two that you're gonna say, all right, they're the creme a la creme, they're the elite. But I think Arkansas could actually surprise a few people. Now I'm not saying that they're gonna beat Bama or LSU. I don't think that's gonna happen. But if you're going up against like a Texas A&M, I could see them upset them. When they're playing like a Mississippi State, I think they could upset them. So that's what I mean. I think Arkansas is going to be one of those teams that's going to fly under the radar that nobody talks about, where they might pull off an upset or two where we're going to like, whoa, okay, we see you guys. So I think it's kind of one of those type of things. So, but obviously, and I think everybody will agree with this, I think it's going to come down to, if you're talking SEC championship, for the West, Bama and LSU. For the East, I'd say Georgia and Tennessee. Now, maybe Florida sneaks in, but I don't think Florida has enough to get there. I think they would need some luck on their side. for something like that to happen. But that's it, Anthony. It's yours.
I meant to do the Pac-12 here instead of the SEC, but we already did it. So you know what? Let's just do it. I wanted to go in alphabetical order by conference, and Pac-12 should have been here, but you know what I could do? I could get into the Pac-12 quick first, and then I'll throw in my SEC, and then MF can do his Pac-12 predictions after that. I know it's a little out of whack there, but nonetheless, that's what I'm going to do here. So yeah, very very busy day here, but then again, still shaking up from the news of earlier. But nonetheless, let me. Okay, there we go. Get into the Pac. I'm gonna get into the Pac-12 stuff, and then I'll do my SEC stuff, and then I'll cue it to MF for his Pac-12 thoughts, since he already did the SEC. So, Pac-12, a conference that was founded in 1915, will have its final season as we know it here in 2023. Oregon and Washington, who were part of that original group in 1915, are leaving for the Big Ten, along with USC and UCLA. Colorado, Arizona State, and Utah are Big 12 bound. That leaves Cal, Oregon State, Stanford, and Washington State in the conference for the time being, for what is sure to be an awkward send-off season. The on-field product should be fantastic. Returning Heisman Trophy winner Caleb Williams returns to USC, and second-year coach Lincoln Riley is looking for a college football playoff breakthrough. Utah is the returning two-time Pac-12 champion, but quarterback Cam Rising suffered a torn ACL in the Rose Bowl. Oregon and Washington are playoff contenders with returning quarterbacks Michael Penix Jr. and Bo Nix. And, of course, Deion Sanders arrives at Colorado. Stanford's Troy Taylor and Arizona State's Kenny Dillingham are the other first-year coaches in the conference. Will the Pac-12 push a team to the CFP, which would break a drought that extends back to 2016? That's the most intriguing bit of drama in the final season together for these 12 teams. USC 1, Washington 2, Utah 3, Oregon 4, Oregon State 5, UCLA 6, Washington State 7, Arizona 8, Arizona State 9, Cal 10, Colorado 11, Stanford in the basement. USC has the friendliest conference schedule of the top 5 contenders. Trojans play Washington and Utah at home, travel to Oregon, and don't have to play Oregon State. The Trojans have lost 4 of the last 6 to the Utes, who have scored at least 40 points in all of those wins. USC has lost 5 of 6 to Oregon. USC and Washington haven't played since 2019. Utah has the toughest route of the contenders with road trips to USC, Washington, and Oregon State. All 6 of the Utes' regular season losses the last 2 years were in road games. The Utes are 21-2 at home the last 4 seasons. Oregon and Washington are trendy college football playoff sleepers. Huskies and Ducks have split schedules against the top contenders. Washington gets USC and Oregon at home, and Utah and Oregon State on the road. Oregon plays USC at home, Washington and Utah on the road, and will be at Autzen Stadium for what will be the final installment of the Pac-12 rivalry with Oregon State, the Civil War. Beavers are another sleeper pick because they don't have to play USC, and they get the Utes and Huskies at home. Plus, Oregon State will pick up a following if they make a run because they're the only one of those 5 contender-worthy teams who stayed in the conference. Washington State and UCLA were the other 2 teams that made bowl games from the conference last year. Cam Ward returns at quarterback for the Cougars, and that should produce better results. Chip Kelly will have a new quarterback at UCLA, and it could be 5-star freshman Dante Moore. He could be an X-Factor type player that gets the Bruins in the conference title mix. And remember, there are no divisions this season. Top 2 teams will advance to the Pac-12 title game. And I got that as Washington and USC. So, excuse me. So that's it for my Pac-12 thoughts. Now let me get into the SEC, which we all know has dominated the college football playoff era. Will the conference claim a 7th national title in 10 years? That would match the 7 national titles SEC schools won during the BCS era. That talk starts with Georgia, which has won back-to-back national championships under Kirby Smart. Bulldogs are ranked number 1 across the AP and coaches preseason polls, and rightly so. Alabama and LSU are also in the top 5. Crimson Tide has a quarterback question. Longtime coach Nick Saban needs to answer. And Brian Kelly is building on an SEC West championship in his first season with the Tigers. Tennessee, which finished 11-2 in Josh Heupel's second season, also will be in the mix. All 4 contenders won their bowl games in 22. Who are the new coaches? Auburn hired Hugh Freeze, the former Ole Miss coach who revived his career at Liberty. And that will make the Tigers a more interesting watch this year. Mississippi State's Zach Arnett replaced the late Mike Leach in last year's ReliaQuest Bowl. So SEC East, I got Georgia 1, Tennessee 2, South Carolina 3, Kentucky 4, Florida 5, Missouri 6, and Vanderbilt in the basement as always. Georgia is set up for another fast start, which should help Carson Beck settle in as the starting quarterback. Bulldogs have won 18 straight home games, a streak that dates back to October 12th of 2019 when they lost to South Carolina 20-17. Gamecocks, a trendy sleeper pick under third-year coach Shane Beamer, visit Sanford Stadium on September 16th. Tennessee plays at Florida on September 16th and hosts South Carolina on September 30th. Those are tricky early season tests that will reveal whether the hype on new quarterback Joe Milton is real. The Volunteers host Georgia on November 18th at Neyland Stadium. Could this be another game of the century? I gave South Carolina the edge over Kentucky. The teams have split the last 4 meetings. Gamecocks won 24-14 last year, and Spencer Rattler has another year in the system. That said, the Wildcats could be a chaos team with new quarterback Devin Leary. The pressure is on Florida and second-year coach Billy Napier against a brutal schedule that starts with a Thursday night opener next week at Utah. Yikes. The Gators also have Georgia, LSU, and Florida State in the final 5 weeks of the season. Missouri finished 6-6 and Vandy 5-7. The difference in bowl eligibility, the Tigers beat the Commodores 17-14. Don't be surprised if that's the case again. In the West, I have Bama, Alabama, LSU, Alabama 1, LSU 2, Texas A&M 3, Ole Miss 4, Arkansas 5, Auburn 6, and Mississippi State in the basement. LSU is the defending SEC West champ, and the media poll vote was close with Alabama. The Crimson Tide, however, have not gone 2 years without a division title since 2010-11, and Alabama beat SEC West champion LSU in the BCS title game that season. The rivalry between these two SEC powers is back, and the November 4th matchup should decide who makes the SEC championship game. Will quarterback be the difference? Jaden Daniels passed for 2,913 yards, 17 touchdowns, and 3 interceptions, and was a difference maker in the victory against the Crimson Tide. Alabama has a 3-way battle among Jalen Milroe, Notre Dame transfer Tyler Buckner, and Ty Simpson heading into fall camp, and that comes with the new offensive coordinator in Tommy Rees. Texas A&M is the sleeper in the division, and Jimbo Fisher hired offensive coordinator Bobby Petrino in the offseason. That dynamic will be a story early in the season, but if sophomore Connor Weigman emerges as a star, then the Aggies will be in the mix. Texas A&M has split the last 2 meetings with Alabama and LSU, and the losses are by a combined total of 7 points. Lane Kiffin is back at Ole Miss. Quinshon Judkins led the SEC with 1,567 rushing yards last year. Rebels have an intriguing quarterback battle among Jackson Dart, Oklahoma State transfer Spencer Sanders, and LSU transfer Walker Howard. Arkansas has arguably the best backfield in the conference with quarterback KJ Jefferson and running back Raheem Sanders, who had 1,443 yards and 7 TDs. Auburn will be better, especially if Freeze finds the right quarterback early. And Mississippi State is moving to a different offensive style under Coach Arnett. There will be growing pains in both places. So those are my thoughts on the Pac-12 and SEC. So MF, come on in. Pac-12. You already got your thoughts on the SEC. I went a smidgen out of order. My apologies for that. So
that's okay. All good.
But you already did the SEC, so take the Pac-12 for a spin, and then we'll get into Notre Dame.
Yeah, when it comes to the Pac-12, I kind of feel like right now the one team that I think everybody wants to know is what's Colorado gonna do. How's Colorado gonna do this year than they do in other years? I don't know if they're. I think they're gonna be much improved. I don't know if they're gonna make a lot of noise. Obviously, right now you're looking at Oregon, Utah, maybe USC. Those would be the 3 that I would say would probably be the creme a la creme. And then obviously, I would say Colorado is probably there. Don't sleep on Washington State. Maybe UCLA makes some noise. I thought they did pretty well last year. And then Washington as well. And then once you get to the bottom tier, then we'll go from there. But like I said, I think Oregon right now, and they had a great run, and Utah definitely, and SC. You know SC is itching. They got the Heisman Trophy winner, and I truly believe that they're about to make the next leap back to the relevance, back to the state, to where they were a few years ago. Because remember, there was a time where the Pac-12 was owned by USC. When Pete Carroll was the head coach, you had Matt Leinart as the quarterback, Reggie Bush as the running back, and all those boys, not only were they winning the Pac-12, They were winning national championships, and that's where they want to get back. So maybe this could be their year. We'll see. So, Anthony, it's yours. Let's get into Notre Dame.
All right. So, well, I think it's only fitting I start this off because it's my team after all. So, all right, Notre Dame, you got the take the lump season out of the way for the new guy, and it was still pretty good. Now it's time to go to work. Marcus Freeman was a fun hire, young, energetic, and a sensational recruiter. Let's just say he was a palate cleanser for the program after Brian Kelly bailed for LSU. However, Brian Kelly was coming off a run of 7 double-digit win seasons in his last 8 with a few college football playoff appearances. That's where the bar is set for Notre Dame now, and Freeman is supposed to be the guy who can help clear it. Oh, but it was rough. The era started out by gacking away the Fiesta Bowl to Oklahoma State at the end of the 2021 season. Losing a battle to open 2022 against Ohio State was fine. Losing to Marshall at home absolutely was not. And losing to Stanford 16-14, almost gagging against Cal, really was not okay. But funny thing happened on the way to everyone starting to think that this was all too big for a guy in his first coaching gig. Notre Dame won 9 games, and at times started to look really, really good. It won 7 of their last 8 with a lone loss coming to a hyped-up USC looking to cement Caleb Williams, the Heisman. No shame there. And beating South Carolina in the Gator Bowl mattered, if only to take away a whole lot of possible stress this offseason. Freeman's recruiting will start to kick in soon, but for now, he has a loaded base of veterans on both sides of the ball, an interesting schedule with chances to make a whole lot of national noise, and he has that first year under his belt. So, as I look at the schedule, it opens up this Saturday in Dublin, Ireland, against Navy, and we'll preview that game in just a moment. And then they open up at their house, Notre Dame Stadium, the following week against Tennessee State. That's obviously an easy win there. And then September 9th, they go to NC State. NC State might give them some fits, but I think Notre Dame will come out of that one. They'll start 3-0. Back home for another cupcake, Central Michigan. That should be a win, 4-0. September 23rd. Oh, boy. They're at home against Ohio State. They may be at home, but let's be realistic. They're not beating Ohio State. They would be lucky if they beat Ohio State. And then September 30th, they're at Duke. I think they'll win that. And then October 7th, they go to Louisville. They'll win that. October 14th, they're at home against USC. Caleb Williams coming back. Yeah. I could see them giving SC fits, but I wouldn't be surprised if SC steals that one. So that's 6-2 right there. Their bye week is October 20. They have 2 bye weeks. The first one is October 21. Then they go, and then they're back at it on October 28th at home against Pittsburgh. They should bounce back there, 7-2. And then November the 4th, they're at Clemson. I don't really like their chances in that one. So 7-3. November 11th is our second bye week. And then November 18th, that's senior day, their home finale against Wake Forest. Ironically, Sam Hartman, who's now the new quarterback, that's his former team, Wake Forest. So, yeah, Sam Hartman's going off on his former team. So that's a win there, Wake Forest. And then the end of the year, Thanksgiving weekend at Stanford. So based on the schedule, I can see Notre Dame finishing at the absolute best 9-3. They're obviously not going to make the CFP, but they may have an outside shot at a New Year's 6, but we'll see. But 9-3, that's the best I can see. The only losses are I have them losing at home to Ohio State, losing at home to USC, and losing at Clemson. But other than those 3 losses, all the other games on the schedule, I believe they'll win. So 9-3 for Notre Dame. MF, how did the Irish look to you this year?
I agree with the most part. I think they should beat Navy. They should beat Tennessee State. That NC State game, at NC State, that's a dangerous game, man. I don't know. I would be a little leery of that game, just honestly. Even though I think they'll win it, but that's going to be a leery game. Central Michigan, I agree. They should win that one. Yes, I do have them losing to Ohio State. Duke as well, that's a victory there. Louisville, that should be a win. But these next 2 games, I'm not as convinced. All right. Yes, I'll give you USC. That should be a loss. Pittsburgh, though, I don't know. I mean, Pittsburgh is one of those teams that flies under the radar in the ACC. So, and they've caught a few people along the way. So Would I be stunned if Pittsburgh beats Notre Dame? No, actually, but I'm not calling it. Clemson's definitely a loss, and then the final two they should get. So yeah, I'll go 9-3. I could see 8-4 for Notre Dame. I could. That Pittsburgh game, if it's not the Pittsburgh game, the NC State game on September 9, that definitely gives me a cause to pause more than anything else. That could be an upset more than anything else. So we'll see. But 9-3 is a safe bet, but I would not be stunned at 8-4 for Notre Dame.
All right. So with that, well, it's not often we do this with week 0 of college football, but we actually have a couple of games to predict here. And it will start Saturday afternoon, 2:30 on NBC and also streaming on Peacock, as the number 13 Notre Dame Fighting Irish will be squaring off against the Midshipmen of Navy from Aviva Stadium in Dublin, Ireland. How about that? And of course, when you think Notre Dame on NBC, you think of their announced team, which is usually Jack Collinsworth, Jason Garrett, and Zora Stevenson. However, Jack Collinsworth is under the weather. He's not feeling well, and he cannot travel. So he's out. Noah Eagle is in. So it'll be Noah Eagle working alongside Jason Garrett and Zora Stevenson, which is fitting because Noah Eagle is going to be the voice of the new Big Ten on NBC, which gets underway the following Saturday night. And we'll preview that game because one of the teams in that matchup is ranked. So we'll get into that on the season premiere of College Football Thursday next week. So Noah Eagle will be looking alongside of I believe it's either Todd Blackledge. I think it's Todd Blackledge and Catherine Tappan. So, but we'll get into that next week. But for right now, getting into Notre Dame here. It's a 20.5 point spread for the Irish, and there isn't anything left to say except MF. Let's give our loyal viewers out there a little preview of what we can expect on College Football Thursday next week.
Yeah, this is the first matchup of the season and the first ranked matchup of the season, and Notre Dame goes up against Navy. Of course, everybody knows the midshipmen of Navy. You know, they normally, whatever we do is they always come off the last game of the season. Unfortunately, Navy didn't really handle their business last year. Only 4-8 at the end of the season, and of course, their big matchup against the Army and Navy, America's game. Oh, by the way, this year's Army Navy game, Foxborough Gillette Stadium. It's happening. I'm so excited, man. So excited. We get to do the game in Foxborough this year.
Bullock's birthday, by the way.
Yeah, I'm trying to get tickets for that game. I want to get tickets for that game. I don't know, okay. I normally don't care about college football as far as watching it, but it's America's game. It's Army Navy. Come on, we got to do it. We got to pull something. We got to do something with that game. So, but to go up against Notre Dame, like you said, Notre Dame's got a lot of high expectations going into their game, and a lot of people are probably going to feel like Notre Dame should win this one. They did play a game about a year ago, actually in 2022. Yeah, it was last year, and Notre Dame just barely beat them 35-32. I don't think it's going to be as close as the game was a year ago. I think Notre Dame should be able to comfortably win this, but there's going to be some growing pains. It's not going to be the perfect game for Notre Dame. I think you're going to see some mistakes in the game, but I do believe Notre Dame should get the job done, and they should win this game. So I got Notre Dame winning. Anthony, it's yours.
MF, these teams have played in Ireland twice, actually. Notre Dame won 54-27 in 1996 and 50-10 in 2012. Sam Hartman will give the Notre Dame offense more downfield firepower, and that will help offset Navy's option attack. The midshipmen hung with the Irish last year in a 35-32 shootout where the Irish were limited to just 66 rushing yards. That will not be the case this time. The Irish's defense, which held Navy to 3 of 11 on third down last year, will make that down and distance more difficult. Look for Notre Dame to pull away in the second half, and Hartman will offer an encouraging performance. Notre Dame wins. My final score, 38-17. The other game will feature the number 6 USC Trojans, and they will be squaring off against the Spartans of San Jose State. This game will be at 8 o'clock over on the Pac-12 network from the Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum in Los Angeles, California. And on the call for that one will be Ted Robinson and Yogi Roth. So Caleb Williams won't be the focus. USC will score at a high clip, and South Carolina transfer running back Marshawn Lloyd will score a pair of first-half touchdowns. Remember, USC averaged almost 51 points a game in their first 3 games last year. Will they get enough starts? San Jose State quarterback Chivon Cordero had 23 touchdowns and only 6 interceptions last year. That's a lot of points against a veteran quarterback. This won't be close, but the Spartans should be good for maybe a backdoor cover. USC is opening up as about a 30 to 30.5 point favorite. But USC is still going to win regardless. Big win, 52-24. SC all over San Jose State. MF, your thoughts?
I'm also with you on this one. I do believe USC should win this game, and they should win this one pretty handily. Look, Caleb Williams is going to start to show why he is the Heisman Trophy winner. I just feel like they're just going to dominate early and often, and I think this is going to be a very easy victory for USC. So I got the Trojans as well. Anthony, let's move on.
Well, it's time for the NFL. So we are going to start it off with the NFC side first. We'll start with the NFC East. We know the teams in the NFC East. You got the NFC champion Philadelphia Eagles, the Dallas Cowboys, the Washington Commanders, and the New York Giants. So, MF, who comes out of the NFC East, and do you have any wild cards coming out of it as well?
As far as the NFC East goes, Philly wins the division.
Agreed.
I think Philly is going to win the division. I got Dallas 2. I got the Giants 3, and I got Washington dead last. As far as this goes, I think it's going to be Dallas getting a wild card. I just feel like this is going to be one of those type of years there. Philly is going to establish themselves. The dominance that they had a year ago, I think is going to continue. And I just don't see any other team coming even close. I do believe the Giants will be a threat, but I think they're just going to fall a little short, and they're not going to make the playoffs. I think they'll miss out. But as far as I go, I think it's Philly 1, Dallas 2, Giants 3, Commanders 4. So, Anthony, it's yours.
I got Philly winning the East. Their schedule and what projects as a weakened NFC suggests that a talent-laden team which started 13-1 last season on its way to Super Bowl 57 and one led by quarterback Jalen Hurts, the 2022 MVP runner-up who appears to be the conference's top quarterback, could bolt to another hot start. Reality signals there will be a few speed bumps for a club breaking in 2 new coordinators, a half dozen new starters, and which owns overall, based on the 2022 winning percentages of its opponents, the league's toughest docket. Still, the reigning conference champs, given present circumstances, seem to have a favorable path back to a number 1 seed. I got Philly winning the division. I got Dallas coming out as a wild card. And yes, their schedule is nearly as brutal as Philly's, including road games at San Francisco Buffalo in December, as well as at Miami. There are also other red flags. Micah Parsons says he's bulking up from his listed weight of 245 pounds. The presumption being he could spend even more time deployed as a pass rusher. And it takes us back to 2013 when Von Miller bulked up to 270 pounds and had his worst season as a pro. But perhaps most concerning is the assertion from head coach Mike McCarthy, Dallas's new offensive play caller, that I want to run the damn ball. But with sledgehammer Ezekiel Elliott no longer on the roster, Ken McCarthy never particularly committed to the run when he ran Green Bay's offense, realistically followed through with scat back Tony Pollard and a cast of unproven backups. America's team is talented enough for a third straight playoff trip under McCarthy, but hardly looks primed to reach its first NFC title game since the 95 season. I do have them getting a wild card spot. I actually have Washington finishing third, and I got the Giants in last. Although I'm still debating on that, but I'm just going with that for right now. So that's the NFC East. NFC North, I'm about to surprise a lot of people. I got the Detroit Lions winning this division. Only a tiebreaker. A Week 4 loss to Seattle kept them out of the playoffs last season, when the Lions won 8 of their last 10 games. To take the next step forward, Detroit will need to avoid another slow start under third-year coach Dan Campbell, a task obviously made more challenging with an opening night date at Kansas City. But the guess here is that a revamped secondary, part of a defense that ranked last overall in 2022, and an imposing offensive line, first-round running back Jahmyr Gibbs, and a boost from second-year wide receiver Jamison Williams after his 6-game gambling suspension ends, will give this club its first division title since 1993. Detroit wins the North, and that's it. I don't have any other teams coming out. I got the Chicago Bears finishing second. I got the Green Bay Packers finishing third, and the Minnesota Vikings. It's tough, but actually no. I'm actually going to go Minnesota second, then Chicago, and then Green Bay. So that's how I feel about the NFC North. So MF. I got Detroit winning this division for the first time in 30 years. Is this their time? I think it is, based on that strong finish. And if they play well enough against Kansas City, who knows? This Detroit team could end up being a dark horse and one we need to take more seriously.
I do agree with that for the most part. That yes, I do believe that Detroit will definitely be a threat. I do have them as a playoff team, but actually not as division winners. So I disagree. Until I'm proven otherwise, and I'm going to say it, I believe Minnesota's going to win the division this year, and I do believe that they'll get the job done. I got Detroit too. Yes, they do get a wild card, and they will be in the playoffs. I got Green Bay 3, and I actually got Chicago at the basement in 4. So that's my prediction.
All right, so we move on to the NFC South. The division in all the NFL. It's tough, but we got to get into it. So, MF, I know it's hard, but this division is god awful. But pick me a winner anyway.
New Orleans.
Yes.
That's it. There's really nothing more to add. New Orleans wins the division. They'll be 1. I say Atlanta's 2. Carolina will be 3, and Tampa Bay will be in dead last. But New Orleans is winning it. I got no other wild card team coming out of it. So, Anthony, it's yours.
Agreed. I got New Orleans. They've gone 16-18 in 2 years post Drew Brees. Middling quarterback play, the primary culprit for such mediocrity. Some will argue new quarterback Derek Carr exemplifies mediocrity at his position. Yet he should offer an upgrade in a division that had no team with a winning record last year. All 4 clubs now undergoing changes behind center. Carr instantly becomes the most accomplished passer in the division and will be backed by the best defense he's ever played with. And even if Alvin Kamara is suspended after pleading no contest to a misdemeanor charge of breach of peace for his role in a fight in Las Vegas, New Orleans' run game should be in good hands with Jamal Williams and third-rounder Kendre Miller. Anything off injured Michael Thomas provides is gravy. I actually have Atlanta as a wild card team. Third-year coach Arthur Smith doesn't get sufficient credit for getting the most from his talent, and Atlanta hasn't had much while going 7-10 each of the last 2 years. Second-year quarterback Desmond Ridder is an obvious X factor, but went 2-2 in the late-season audition as a rookie. But he'll operate behind the top-tier line. And with wide receiver Drake London, healthy tight end Kyle Pitts, and running back Bijan Robinson, he projects as a top candidate for Offensive Rookie of the Year honors at his disposal. Last year's 27th-ranked defense still looks iffy, but should be better at every level with veterans like Calais Campbell, Caden Ellis, and Jesse Bates III coming aboard. Tossed in what's statistically the league's easiest schedule, and the Dirty Birds couldn't even be playoff-bound for the first time since 2017. So New Orleans wins the division, Atlanta second, Carolina third, Tampa Bay dead last. So NFC West, San Francisco. It's tempting to be bullish about a team that's reached the NFC Championship game 3 of the last 4 years and features arguably the league's preeminent offensive mind in Kyle Shanahan. And a full season with Christian McCaffrey and a motivated Deebo Samuel, not to mention the addition of Javon Hargrave to last year's number 1 defense, only fuels enthusiasm in the Bay Area. But how long will it take Brock Purdy to settle in after missing the offseason following elbow surgery? Will the offensive line struggle after the departure of Mike McGlinchey? And what will the loss of coordinator DeMeco Ryans mean for that swarming defense. Another slow start certainly is not out of the question for a team that was 4-4 coming out of its bye last year. Seattle wildcard team, rejuvenated on both sides of the ball thanks to the draft bounty brought from last year's trade of Russell Wilson. Pete Carroll's team is very much starting to resemble the one that won a Super Bowl a decade ago. What, with the makings of a loaded secondary, deep D-line, Bobby Wagner, again, lording over the defense, a running game that should pound relentlessly, and a quarterback, Geno Smith, who keeps things moving with a minimum of mistakes, at least based on his breakout year last year. And with first-rounder Jackson Smith and Jigba joining DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett, the passing game should be far more formidable than Seattle's 2013 forebears. The Niners have very little margin for error with the Seahawks seemingly on a steep ascent. And that's it. So I have San Fran 1, Seattle 2, the LA Rams 3rd, and the Arizona Cardinals in last. MF, NFC West.
Yeah, I totally agree with the most part. Niners win the division. Seahawks gets a wild card. I'm actually saying Rams also gets a wild card. I think they're going to get there. I think they'll get the 3rd wild card, and that should be the final wild card. And then we also got the Cardinals in dead last. So, yeah, nothing more to say. Anthony, it's yours.
And now MF to what I believe, and I think what we believe, it may be, as we move to the AFC now, maybe the most compelling division in the AFC. And it's our division, the AFC East.
Oh, it's going to be a bloodbath. It is going to be a bloodbath.
And we wouldn't have it, and you, me, and Bullock wouldn't have it any other way.
Yeah. No, AFC East is going to be absolutely madness. You got Miami with a legitimate case. Buffalo's got a legitimate case. The Jets have a legitimate case. And there are a lot of Patriot fans out there that believes they're due. You know, with a great defense, can their offense get together, get the job done? We'll wait and see about that. Buffalo, I think, took a step back. I think they might be in trouble. I don't think they're going to win the division. But here's the thing. You could even make an argument that all 3 wild card spots comes out of the AFC East. I don't think it will, but I think they get 2 out of the 3.
Yeah.
I think the Jets win the division. Buffalo is 2nd. They get a wild card. Miami, 3rd. They get a wild card. And New England is in dead last, and they fall short. I don't think they get there, but they will fall short. The reason why I say the Jets win it, and here's the reason why. Miami is hitting on Tua Tagovailoa. If he stays healthy, Miami is definitely a threat. But if he gets hurt, or if that O-line stinks, then I don't think Miami goes anywhere. I think they'll fall a little short, and plus their schedule is rough at the jump. They're walking into some landmines right out of the gate. So I gotta think of this pragmatically, professionally. That's why. For Buffalo, the reason why I'm not picking Buffalo to win the division is because I don't know if they got enough of the juice, the horsepower, or everything to get to the end. Offensively, if you've been watching them preseason, oh my God, Buffalo's looked bad in the preseason. They've looked horrible in the preseason.
Especially against Pittsburgh.
Yeah, especially against Pittsburgh. If you're the Buffalo Bills, that is alarms more than anything else.
Oh, yeah. And stupid penalties, the whole 9.
Yeah, so that's why I can't put Buffalo out there. That's why I can't put Buffalo at the top.
Fair enough.
And the New York Jets is, without a doubt, the most complete team in the AFC East. There is no there. And the one thing that one of the guys that I was listening to, they're like, can you name one weakness out of the New York Jets? No, you can't. Quarterback, you got Aaron Rodgers. Running back, Dalvin Cook is going to be a big help for them. That's why I was pissed when he picked the Jets over the Dolphins. I get it. I understand it. But I was mad that happened. Then you have Garrett as a wide receiver. Then you got a good tight end, one of the best offensive lines in the NFL, and then that defense with Sauce Gardner and them boys, that's a top 5 defense for the New York Jets. I think the Jets are going to finally put it all together and they're going to win the AFC East. Now, don't get me wrong. Me being biased, I want Miami to win the division. But I also got to be very realistic here. I think they're going to make the playoffs. I just don't see them getting all the way there. So, to me, this is going to be wild to say the very least. So, the way it's broken down, Jets wins division, Buffalo gets a wild card, Miami gets a wild card, and New England Patriots comes in last. So, Florio, it's yours.
Slight disagreement. And I know a lot of people are saying, oh, you're a homer. Yes. Throw the homer hate at me if you want to. But I still have to go with my team because they've won the division each of the last 3 years. And until somebody knocks them off, you got to go with them. And I'm still optimistic about this team. I am. I mean, I know not everybody is high on them. I understand that. But I still believe. The expectations last year were outsized and unrealized. But if Von Miller's Thanksgiving knee injury didn't cripple this team beyond repair, then the emotional toll exacted by DeMar Hamlin's terrifying on-field collapse 5 weeks later certainly seemed to. Hamlin has made a remarkable recovery, and Miller should be playing his usual complement of snaps when Buffalo really needs him, when winter hits and during the playoffs. Jordan Poyer is also back, and his new teammates include Leonard Floyd, Damian Harris, and first-round tight end Dalton Kincaid. Assuming everything remains on the rails with sometimes enigmatic wide receiver Stephon Diggs, this team could do significant damage while perhaps spending far more time under the radar during the regular season. Buffalo wins the division yet again. I have the Jets finishing second. They were in the thick of the wild card race well into December until the league's worst quarterback play torpedoed them with a season-ending 6-game losing streak. That won't be the case this year amid the arrival of Aaron Rodgers, coordinator Nathaniel Hackett, wide receiver Alan Lazard, and other former Packers who are implementing an offense that helped the 4-time MVP to 2 of those awards in 20 and 21. A merely passable offense will be a boon to a defense that ranked 4th overall last year, despite getting little help. The readiness of second-year running back Breece Hall and a challenging schedule will likely be early obstacles, but plugging Rodgers into this situation seems more akin to Tom Brady joining the Tampa Bay Bucks or Matthew Stafford going to the LA Rams than the disastrous first year of Russell Wilson in Denver. If that proves remotely true, the Jets will have the best quarterback in club history and a very realistic shot at their first Super Bowl trip in 55 years. Miami Dolphins finishes third. I also have them as a wildcard team as well, MF, yes. Naturally, so much rides on the health of fourth-year quarterback Tua Tagovailoa, who was the league's highest-rated passer at 105.5 last year, when he missed 4 starts and most of a fifth battling concussive effects. But if he's right, an offense with so many explosive playmakers should pile up points, especially if rookie Devon Achaney can help kickstart the run game. Yet Miami, a wildcard entry during head coach Mike McDaniel's first season, should make its biggest leap on defense as veteran coordinator Vic Fangio takes command of an 18th ranked but talented crew that welcomes Pro Bowl cornerback Jalen Ramsey and will have Bradley Chubb for a full season. And New England finishes last. So Buffalo wins the division, Jets second with a wild card, Miami third also with a wild card. New England finishes last and coming up short. I agree. All right, AFC North. I have 2 teams coming out of this division. The division winner, obviously, is the Cincinnati Bengals. Yes, they're breaking in new starting safeties and face a tough schedule that includes out-of-division road games at Tennessee, San Francisco, Jacksonville, and Kansas City. But Joe Burrow, PFF's top-ranked quarterback last year, could very well be primed for an MVP turn with the league's best 3 receivers the league's best 3 receivers set still at his disposal, following a season when Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and Tyler Boyd all missed time. Perhaps more important, Orlando Brown Jr. should further stabilize an offensive line that was once again in shreds by the time last season's AFC Championship game rolled around. The wild card team finishing second, I got the Baltimore Ravens. Now financially secure, expectations have probably never been grander for Lamar Jackson. Now 4 years removed from his MVP season and coming off 2 campaigns, he was unable to finish after missing 10 collective starts since 2021. Yet it remains to be seen how he'll adjust to new coordinator Todd Monken's offense, though the spread system has been likened to the one in which Jackson won the Heisman Trophy at Louisville. This ain't college, but Jackson has never had this kind of wideout talent at his disposal in the NFL. Veteran Odell Beckham Jr. and first-rounder Zay Flowers possibly vying to become this franchise's first Pro Bowler at the position. Oddly, the Ravens' top concern might be vulnerability on defense, where there's a lack of depth at corner and questions among the front. So I got Baltimore finishing second and getting a wild card. I got Pittsburgh finishing third, and I got Cleveland finishing last. So that's how I feel about the AFC North. MF, your thoughts?
All right, I am a partial disagreement, but I do agree that Cincinnati wins the division. I actually got Pittsburgh too, and they get the wild card.
Okay.
So I got them actually going to the playoffs and getting in. Then third, I got Baltimore, and fourth, I got Cleveland. So I got the Ravens and Pittsburgh flip-flop, and the reason why is I think Kenny Pickett's going to make a big jump in this second year. And if you've already – I don't know if you've noticed, Anthony, but the way Pittsburgh's been playing, especially this preseason, oh, my God.
Especially against Buffalo. Oh.
And they just did a number in on Atlanta tonight. They shut them out 27-0.
Oh.
I was like, yeah. So, no, Pittsburgh caught my attention, and they got my ear, and I'm like, yo. Oh, I'm sorry, 24-0. They beat Atlanta. I gave
Still
them
impressive, Still impressive nonetheless.
Yeah, so, no, that was – I'm going to say it. I think Pittsburgh might be poised for a big run this year, so I think they're going to get in it, and that's it. So nothing more to say. Anthony, it's yours.
All right, MF. AFC South. Can those cardiac Jags do it again? And then again, I mean, a lot of the experts are very high on this Jacksonville team. This is the team we might need to watch for, just like Detroit in the NFC.
Wins the division. Yes, yeah. I'm on that bandwagon. I'm jumping on that wagon.
Definitely.
I'm not letting go on that wagon too.
Nope.
What Trevor Lawrence did was he had a coming out party, man. He looked like the Trevor Lawrence of Clemson, coming back from 27-0 down to knocking off the Chargers in that Super Wild Card weekend, which was an unbelievable performance. And to think, 4 interception, 5 turnovers the whole game, and they still came back and won that. Unreal with what they did. That's the success of Doug Williams is the coach. Or am I wrong?
Jacksonville?
Yeah.
That was Doug Peterson.
Doug Peterson. That's right. Okay.
The guy who took Philly to the Super Bowl.
Yes. So I believe that Jacksonville will take that next step. They're going to win the division. Second, actually a surprise. Indianapolis Colts, second place. And the reason why I'm saying that is I've been watching Richardson, the rookie quarterback. I like what I've seen from them. Now, there's a lot of drama with the Jonathan Taylor situation. As a matter of fact, what just broke down about an hour ago, Miami thought they had him, but Indy said no. They dumped, I guess, Miami offered him a trade, and he said no, and Indy said no. So right now, Miami and Indy are still talking. They're there, but what I heard is Jonathan Taylor is hell-bent on becoming Miami Dolphin. He wants to go to Miami, but for some odd reason, the language or the trade compensation was not enough. So Miami's going to have to go back to the drawing board and send another proposal to Indy to appease them. But they almost had Taylor earlier tonight. They didn't get him. I was a little mad about that. Third, I'll say, is the Tennessee Titans. Fourth is the Houston Texans. Anthony, it's yours.
Jacksonville wins the division, and they're the only team that I have making the playoffs out of this division. They certainly appear on the upswing after their first division title since 2017 broke a string of 4 consecutive last-place finishes, and Trevor Lawrence and an ascending offense should only continue to trend upward if Calvin Ridley proves to be a WR1 after sitting out last year due to a gambling suspension. The Jags could really want to run away with an imminently winnable division if recent first-round defenders Trayvon Walker, Devin Lloyd, and Kaylavon Chiasen contribute something closer to what's expected of them than what they've provided to date. Also noteworthy that the Jaguars will become the first team to play in London twice in one season in consecutive weeks and with no bye immediately following. But it should be interesting to see what, if any, effect that has for a team so accustomed to playing abroad. Jacksonville wins the division. Slight disagreement, MF. I got Tennessee going second. I got Houston third, and I got Indy 4. But that might have been because of the Jonathan Taylor thing. I don't know, but that's how I had it going in. So that's the AFC South. And our final division of the night, the AFC West. I only have one team coming out of this, and there's only one team that comes out of this division. That, of course, is your reigning, defending, undisputed Super Bowl champions, whether you like them or you don't, that being the Kansas City Chiefs. They followed up their last Super Bowl victory following the 2019 season with another AFC championship in 2020. That can certainly happen again, and maybe the Chiefs even become the first team to successfully go back-to-back in 19 years. But the impediments will be many. As previously noted, the conference is nasty. A first-place schedule that includes the entire AFC East is forbidding. Reigning MVP quarterback Patrick Mahomes will be playing in front of a pair of new tackles, Donovan Smith and Jawan Taylor. Offensive coordinator Eric Bieniemy is also off to Washington, though Matt Nagy returns to the role he had when Mahomes was a rookie in 2017. Speaking of 2017, that's the last time KC won fewer than 12 games. Mahomes only started once that year. So I may be selling the Chiefs even in a year when they have to play at Jacksonville, at New Jersey against the Jets, in Germany against the Miami Dolphins, and catch the Buffalo Bills coming off their bye, and the AFC rematch with Cincinnati on New Year's Eve on a short week. So I got Kansas City winning the West. I got Denver finishing second. I got the Chargers finishing third, and the Raiders finishing last. And Kansas City is my only playoff team in the West. So, MF, your thoughts on the AFC West, and then we'll get into your Big 3 championship game preview.
Yeah, I say Kansas City wins the division, no doubt about it. I disagree. I say the Chargers get second. I think the Raiders gets third, and I'm not sold on Denver like a few people are. I think Denver are going to struggle, and I think they're going to end up last. So that's my sentiments on that. All right, Big 3. Well, here we go. It's that time. It starts, like we said, we got to the semifinal. Once we got to the semifinal, the Big 3, here we go. So what we do have here, guys, is, like I said, this is going to be an amazing, amazing finale. But we're going to start it off, it's going to be a big one. So Big 3 has the semifinals was the Enemies going up against Trilogy. Enemies knocking them out 50-37, and then the Triplets winning over the Ghost Ballers. That was a 50-45 final score, and now it leads us, like we said, to the Big 3 final. So the Big 3 final is set, and here's the breakdown on this game. As a matter of fact, so there's supposed to be 3 games that's going to be held at London. The first one is the Big 3 Celebrity Game. That is going to be going down at 12 o'clock Eastern Time. That will be on CBS. All the games are going to be on CBS. Just to let you fine folks know. So the first game, that will be at 12 o'clock, and that will be held, at the O2 Arena in London. and that will be starting off that game. So once you get into that one, then you get into um, then we're gonna get into the Big Three All Star game, and that game will be held. That game should be going down. Um, the All Star game will be held. Oh well, actually, just to let you guys know about the Big Three celebrity game, just some of the people that are going to be involved in the game, just to let you guys know, or the participants that are going to be in it. Well, first off, you're going to have is basically um, there's going to be two different teams. Uh, Weeble and the other one is Prize Pick. Those are going to be the teams and the participants of the game. Listen to this: a who's who. Vernon Davis, Terrell Owens, uh, Biggie with the hoodie, Wio and Gala, NLG Choppa, Rashad Jennings, uh, Rico Nasty, Ashley Durbin, and Samba. And there's going to be some more people added to the game as well. So that will happen. And it's under Big Three rules. And the winner of the game gets $25,000 that they get to donate to their local charity. So that is going to be the game. That will be held at the O2. That's the first one. Then the Big Three All Star game that's going down. This is also going down on Sunday. This will be at 1 o'clock prior to the final, prior to the championship game. So let's see if I can find that for you folks. Let me see. Where is it? Big Three All Star. I think this is it. Yeah, here we go. So, Big Three All Star game. This the rosters were announced, so I know that it should be up. We had Team Big and Team Three, or that was the announcement of the game. Let me see if I got it. I don't think they have it. No, they don't. All right, hold on, folks. I'm sorry. Live TV. This is normally I would have had. Um, I thought I would have it all here, but it doesn't look like I do have it. The Big Three All Star game. I guess I have to do 2023 Big Three All Star game. All right, here. Let's see. All right, here we go. So here is the Big Three All Star team. All right, so Big Three All Star game. The Big Three, the team Big, and they're gonna be. And here are the teams. We got Mike Taylor, Earl Clark, Ryan Carter, Frank Nitti, and Glenn Rice Jr. And then for Team 3, their all-star team is going to be Dante Green, Jody Meeks, Leandro Barboza, Gerald Green, and Jason Richardson. That will be the teams in that one. And then, of course, the main event, the game that the whole world will be waiting for, the Big Three final from the O2 in London, as it will be the enemies going up against the triplets. Team enemies: Isaiah Austin, Elijah Stewart, Quincy Miller, Jordan Crawford, and the head coach of the team, Agent 00 himself, Gilbert Arenas. Team triplets, they have the following team. They got Joe Johnson, Jeremy Pargo, Damian Wilkins, uh, Mo Chala, Larry Sanders, and Jamario Moon, and of course their head coach Lisa Leslie. That game will be held. It is being tabled to be at 2 p.m. Eastern time. That's when they're supposed to do the Big Three final. But whatever the case may be, I am so excited. This is the day we've been waiting for, and it's going to be an epic final. It's going to be done, I believe, Saturday. All games on CBS. So nothing more to say. That's the Big Three final, Anthony. And then the last bit of news for the night is, of course, the RWA Summertime Showdown is going down this Saturday night from Johnston, Rhode Island, the Johnston Recreational Center. And let's break down the fight card. So let's see if we can get it. Let's see if I can find it quick. Let's see. I think it's nope.
And while you're getting that up, MF, perhaps Saturday night on the Cerebral Smack Talk, maybe you could give us a the recap of the Big Three Championship, if time permitting.
Oh yeah, if time permits, but we're gonna have a lot to talk about on the docket. So, but yeah, definitely, I definitely have an idea about possibly doing that. Yes. All right. Let me see. Is that no? Where is it? We should have it. Let's see. All right, here we go. So, Summertime Showdown. Let's see, does it have it? Let's see. I could just do this. Go here, because I know he normally does it. I know he should definitely have the fight card set up. All right, here we go. I think this is it. Okay. Actually, no, it's not. Where is? Huh. All right. So. All right. So Summertime Showdown, and in this event, so what we do have is a whole bunch of different matches. So we started off, of course, with Mike Rasa going up against Danny Adam. So that would be a one-on-one match. Then on top of that, we also got is the Haven. This is Sean Kite and Jay Onyx. They're gonna be going up against, and apparently this is a non-title match. They're going up against Mike Montero and Jamie Tucker representing DCMC. So non-title match on that one. Then we have another tag team match, as it is Diego Alvarez and Lex Lorenzo. They're going to go up against the tag team of Chris Cruz and Devin Blades. That's going to be a match. Then we have the Collective. Riley O'Neal and Devin Justice. They're going up against Jay Brox and Richard Stone of Hustle and Muscle. That's going to be a one-on-one tag team attraction. Big Juicy will make her return. She'll be in action. And so will Stephen Lust. He will also be in action. RWA Ocean State champion Denzel Jordan will go one-on-one with the Golden Boy, Harry Brooks. Of course, this was announced at Legacy, but now they're going to officially make it happen. Isaac Knox will go one-on-one with Jason Devine. And then in one of the I know there was another big fight here. So then we have Team Morales. This is going to be Eddie Vegas and Coach Will. They're going to be going up against the Mighty Bosch and Mac Madness. That's a tag team attraction. And then we'll also hear from AJP, his first major comments since losing the RWA title. What we'll hear from him. And in the main event of the night, it's going to be an 8-person tag team matchup, as it will be in the main event. Let's see, I can find it. I just see it, so I know it's here. Let's see. Yeah, here it is. So it's going to be the Working Class Heroes. It's the Working Class Heroes and Shay Cash and a mystery partner. We do not know who the fourth one is. And they're going to be going up against the Suplex Sweetheart Asana, Sean Leader, the Insane Dick Lane, and the newly crowned current RWA champion, Tom Billington. That is going to be the fight card. This is going to be an incredible show, to say the very least. That's going down on Saturday. And get your tickets now, rwaforever.com. That's rwaforever.com. Get your tickets now. Anthony, it's yours.
And due to commitments and other things beyond our control, we will not be at that show, unfortunately.
No.
This Saturday, at least for this one. We'll, as we always do, we play it by ear. We wait for, whenever they announce the date of the next show, which I'm sure they're going to on Saturday night. They will. So, and we'll see. I mean, it just has to be on a day and a time that's good for all of us, preferably a Sunday. So. But we'll see what happens. But we'll see about the next one, and we'll take it a month at a time and all that. So, all right. So with all that being said, that will put the bow on our regulation season finale of TXN Sports World. We want to thank you all so very much for tuning in all season. When it comes to the regulation shows, whether we talked about free agency or trades or other things, big three and what have you, our schedules, specials. I mean. You won't be seeing any of those shows anytime soon. You won't be seeing those shows until at the earliest sometime around late January or into February sometime. That's when we'll be back with our regular season regulation episodes. Because from here on in, it's all about the pigskin, baby. It's all about football. And I'll get more into that in just a moment. We will next be with you Saturday night over on MF's channel, Brace Fan 95, for another edition of the Cerebral Smack Talk. Big show here, loaded show. We will start the show by paying our respects to Bray Wyatt. Still can't get over that, but we got to get over it at some point. But I'm definitely going to be thinking a lot about that tonight for sure. Believe me, as we all are. We'll pay our respects to Bray Wyatt, and then we'll get into what we always do: Friday Night SmackDown. We'll also get into AEW Collision tape show. Oh, by the way, and then we will preview. Perhaps the biggest pay-per-view in the history of all elite wrestling, All In from Wembley Stadium in London, England, on Sunday afternoon, our time. We'll get into that. And then from there, time permitting, good old MF Michael Fletcher will recap the Big Three Championship. And he'll let us know who walked away with the Dr. J Julius Erving Trophy. So that'll be on Saturday. MF, any word on when we will have an all-in recap or not yet?
We haven't really talked about it. I don't know if we're gonna do. I mean, we could do it Sunday. Normally that's the day that I'm not working. Maybe we can do it immediately following, but we definitely would have to sit down and think about it.
It would have to be a little bit later because me, Bullock, and the Keenans, we're going to be hanging for a bit. So, yeah. So
I mean, we could probably do it like 10 o'clock or 10:30. So if you want to do it that way, then.
Yeah. If you want to, yeah, that probably would be easier. Take a little bit off the load. So
right,
Sunday night, So you heard it. 10 maybe. So around 10:30 or so Sunday night, it will be our yes, I'm at 10:30.
I'd probably say 10. Yeah, we'll go 10.
Yeah, 10 works. All right. So 10 p.m. Sunday night, it will be our review of AEW All In. That's it. And then Monday night, we do it all again, Ridiculously Raw. The Go Home Show for Payback, as we'll review Monday Night Raw. And I will have the results of the Impact Wrestling Emergence special that also goes down Sunday night. And then from there, that's it for that. And then Wednesday, we got Wednesday Night Madness, hosted by good old MF Michael Fletcher, as we will have NXT and AEW Dynamite as always. For Dynamite, it's not only the fallout from All In, but it's also the go-home show for All Out. So, busy season. And then next Thursday night, the season premiere of TXN Sports World College Football Thursday. Oh, man, I can't believe it's already here. Another season of TXN Sports World College Football Thursday. That's on Thursday. And we go from there. So that's it. So until Saturday night for the Cerebral Smack Talk over on the MF channel, Bracebay 95, 10:30 Saturday night. It's Anthony Floyer here for good old MF Michael Fletcher. And in spirit, Michael Bullock. And, of course, always and forever, the first lady of our shows, Dee Dee Woodson. You know the routine, everybody. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah, throw it up Fortune 4 style. Bye for now, my friends. God bless. Be good to each other. Have a blessed couple of days. And until Saturday night for the Cerebral Smack Talk, you've been watching the regulation season finale of TXN Sports World right here on the Tone 25 on YouTube and StreamYard.com. For everybody who has been a part of this one, for now, Anthony Florio. So long, and bye, everybody. Bye.